night on my live, which I'm going to play a little bit of the footage later on in this video. One thing I can say is that it's looking real spooky for these WNBA reporters jumping out the window before crossing the I's and dotting all the damn T's before they get to reporting on stuff and making sure they're reporting credible information. Now, we have another case coming out of the Connecticut pretty much media that was a bold-faced lie. I mean, a lie that was so bad it sent shockwaves throughout the damn.
Caitlin Clark's absence from the upcoming All-Star competition has been officially confirmed following a groin injury sustained during recent gameplay. Despite her selection as team captain, the star player made the difficult decision to withdraw from all weekend festivities, including the highly anticipated three-point shooting competition. The injury occurred during competitive action, with visible evidence showing Clark experiencing immediate discomfort and seeking medical attention. Photographs captured her distressed state, including moments where she covered her face with a towel while dealing with the physical setback.
The damn WNBA today, dog. Let's pull it up. Now, this WNBA reporter initially stated this: a fan who was escorted out of TD Garden for touching Sandra Rivers, she called it out immediately, and he was escorted up the stairs and out. The fan appears to be an Indiana Fever fan, and he was wearing a Fever tee and was sitting courtside. Now, she made it her basically business.
Clark released a public statement through social media channels explaining her withdrawal decision. Her message praised Indianapolis as the host city for the WNBA's premier weekend event and recognized the extensive planning efforts by local organizing committees who spent months coordinating the festivities. She expressed disappointment about missing the three-point contest specifically, noting that despite initial attempts to compete through the discomfort, medical considerations ultimately required prioritizing recovery over participation. The announcement's timing has generated scrutiny regarding organizational communication strategies. Previous comments from head coach Stephanie White positioned the participation decision as entirely within Clark's control and her medical team's recommendations, which some interpreted as the franchise attempting to distance itself from potential criticism about her absence.
And was sitting courtside. Now, she made it her basically business to set out and say this Indiana Fever fan pretty much did this, which, I reacted to this thing live when it was all going down. Now, this is what she said about this after the fact when it came out that she freaking lied. She stated, for clarity, when this incident occurred, I consulted with multiple sources who shared with me what they witnessed. Of course, it was not possible to get Rivers' account mid-game. Now,
Despite the injury setback, Clark continues receiving recognition for her exceptional contributions to women's basketball. She recently claimed another ESP award, marking her second consecutive year earning WNBA Player of the Year honor. The announcement generated extraordinary social media engagement, accumulating over 35,000 likes, 700 comments, and approaching 600,000 views, figures that significantly exceeded similar posts from the same time frame. The award ceremony featured a representative accepting the honor on Clark's behalf, with presenters emphasizing her revolutionary impact on the sport and her success in attracting new audiences to women's professional basketball. Speakers highlighted her exponential contribution to growing the game and her electrifying playing style that energizes fans while inspiring emerging talent.
Of course, it was not possible to get Rivers' account mid-game. Now, Rivers did speak to the media after this game. Now, I did get a hold of the press conference. It's here on the channel, bro, and it's quite long, too. So I put it out last night. You guys can check it out. And it stated, goes on to say, it was not possible to get Rivers' account. I had no reasons to doubt what was provided to me. Emily Adams' update has been shared in a separate tweet. Now, this is the tweet that she's referencing. Now, this is Emily Adams' tweet. She say,
Clark's withdrawal has produced varied public reactions across social media platforms. While many supporters have expressed understanding and encouragement, other responses have included inappropriate commentary and jokes about the situation. The circumstances have also prompted discussions about organizational responsibility when marquee players cannot fulfill expectations of ticket purchasers. The groin injury appears to have manifested during three-point shooting practice, with Clark immediately grabbing the affected area and displaying obvious pain. Medical Medical personnel and team officials have maintained discretion regarding specific injury details or projected recovery timelines.
Now, this is Emily Adams' tweet. She say, update Viva Sonya Rivers. The ejected fan did not touch her, bro. Right then and there. She put big bold letters, did not touch her. He made a comment that warranted his ejection. Rivers was in great spirits about it, joked that he wasted all that money on a seat just to get tossed. Now, the courtside seats are pretty high right now, man. I can't even lie to you. But make a long story short, this is another case of these damn...
This development adds complexity to an already eventful period for Clark, who has emerged as one of women's basketball's most recognizable personalities. Her influence transcends statistical performance, as demonstrated by exceptional social media engagement metrics, and her ability to generate attention for WNBA events regardless of her participation status. The Indianapolis All-Star Weekend will proceed according to schedule, though organizers must modify promotional materials and event programming to accommodate Clark's absence. This situation exemplifies the challenges facing sports organizations when featured athletes cannot participate in marquee events, particularly when ticket sales occurred with expectations of seeing specific performers.
But make a long story short, this is another case of these damn WNBA media people pointing fingers at the Indiana Fever fan base. Now, let's take a look at the footage, me reacting to this thing as it happened last night after the game. Roll it.
I found it. Shout out to Jules. So Sonya Citron, right? It's a full video of what happened after Sonya Citron. So basically something happened. They're saying something happened. Let's see. This video don't have sound either. So they're
Industry analysts continue monitoring how leagues and individual franchises manage player health communications, especially involving high-profile athletes whose presence substantially affects attendance and broadcast viewership. The circumstances also raise questions about balancing player welfare with commercial interests in professional sports. Clark's decision to withdraw rather than risk additional injury has received praise as a responsible choice prioritizing long-term health over short-term appearances. The move demonstrates maturity and professional judgment that have contributed to her reputation both during competition and in other professional contexts.
This video don't have sound either. So they're pointing at a guy. They're pointing at a guy. They're clapping. He's getting up. Wow, he's wearing a Caitlin Clark shirt. He's probably pissed off that I was cheating, bro. Wow. They literally put him out.
The broader implications extend to discussions about injury management protocols in professional athletics, pressure on star performers to compete despite physical limitations, and the importance of transparent communication between organizations, athletes, and fans. As the All-Star Weekend approaches, attention will focus on event execution without one of its primary attractions and implications for handling similar future situations. A notable response from Stephanie White has raised questions about the Indiana Fever organization's approach to managing Clark's achievements and public recognition. While White's coaching qualifications remain unquestioned, concerns about organizational direction continue emerging.
They literally put him out. She literally got a fan ejected, a Caitlin Clark fan ejected from the game. She got a Caitlin Clark fan ejected from the game. A man sitting courtside just got escorted out. Appears to have something to do with Sonya Rivers. So she got a fan ejected, a Caitlin Clark fan ejected. What is these comments saying? A fan was escorted out of TD Garden for touching Sonya Rivers. She called it immediately as she was escorted up the stairs and out. That fan appeared.
The relationship between Clark and the franchise appears to be developing in ways that diverge from typical narratives about building around superstar talent. Previously common discussions about Clark's desire to remain in Indiana long-term and the organization positioning itself as women's basketball's premier destination have notably decreased. Instead, subtle messaging from within the Fever suggests they view themselves as transcending any individual player, including Clark. This dynamic became particularly apparent when White was questioned about Clark's ESPY award for WNBA Player of the Year, which she received during game action. The timing made it impossible for White to be unaware of the recognition, yet her response took an unexpected trajectory.
Who's the reason why the Indiana Fever are known across the globe? Only one coach decided to walk over to Caitlin Clark, put their hand on her back and say, "Everything all right, dude? You okay? Is something going on?" And for that, Austin Kelly, salute to you, a.k.a. the final boss. Just something I noticed last night. While coaches were turning their back on Caitlin Clark, while coaches were refusing to fight the referees for Caitlin Clark,
when asked about Clark's impact following the honor, White acknowledged her continued success and barrier-breaking achievements. However, she immediately redirected focus to other players, mentioning league MVPs like Brianna Stewart and Aja Wilson, both championship winners, and even referencing Sue Bird's presence at the venue. This pattern resembles what some observers characterize as the Kathy Engelbert approach, a tendency to deflect individual player recognition by immediately highlighting other athletes. When Clark is mentioned, the conversation shifts to Angel Reese. When Paige Beakers is discussed, Kiki Rice enters the dialogue. Rather than celebrating the specific player being questioned about, responses consistently redirect to emphasize others.
While coaches were refusing to fight the referees for Caitlin Clark, while coaches were refusing to get a technical foul with all the play that's been going on all season long, one coach in the mix at least recognized their star player in need and did their best. So Austin Kelly, salute to you. Let's get into the topic today. Caitlin Clark visibly upset with the referee, screaming on the referee, but gets no technical foul. Do you know what that told me? That told me whatever that referee said.
The approach seems designed to prevent any single player from receiving excessive individual attention, possibly as a method to maintain team cohesion or prevent ego inflation. Yet Clark's basketball intelligence and competitive drive suggest she understands the necessity for championship success. Her NCAA tournament performance remains historically significant, arguably the greatest individual run in women's tournament history, culminating in victory over what may have been the strongest college team ever assembled. That South Carolina squad, featuring Aaliyah Boston and 10 future WNBA players, represented the pinnacle of college basketball excellence. Clark's ability to essentially single-handedly defeat such a powerhouse demonstrates her exceptional talent and clutch performance capability.
That told me whatever that referee said was a big no-no. Whatever that referee said, as soon as it left his mouth, he said, "Damn, I definitely should not have said that. Nah, I crossed the line." Because you don't get screamed on by a player like that. You don't get shown up on the court by a player like that and not call a technical foul unless you were in the wrong. The refereeing yesterday, we see Tina Charles.
White's complete response eventually acknowledged Clark's fortune in reaching the WNBA alongside her peers, emphasizing how current players serve as role models for future generations. She expressed pride in Clark's achievements and confirmed the organization's continued support while stressing the importance of collective team success over individual accolades. The visual element of White wearing an Aaliyah Boston t-shirt during this discussion added another dimension to the situation. While supporting teammates is admirable and the entire team wearing Boston's W Slam magazine shirts showed excellent solidarity, the timing created an awkward juxtaposition when discussing Clark's individual recognition.
Reading yesterday, we see Tina Charles hit AB with a stiff forearm, literally turns around and hits her with a stiff forearm. We see Sophie Cunningham get elbowed in her neck. No call. Saying that she flopped. The referees yesterday, they were in a league of their own in terms of incompetence. It's the last time we saw the Connecticut Sun, you would think that
The fundamental question remains why a straightforward inquiry about Clark's ESP win couldn't receive a direct celebratory response. Other coaches, including opponents like Sandy Brondello, speak more positively about Clark than her own coach appears to in these moments. A simple acknowledgement of the achievement would have sufficed, recognizing the ESP as a significant honor, praising Clark as one of the game's best young talents, and then transitioning to team goals if desired. Instead, the response immediately elevated other players and essentially suggested Clark should be grateful for the league's existence.
The last time we saw the Connecticut Sun, you would think that we would have a crew that would set the tone saying, hey, all of this dirty play is not flying today. But when you're in the WNBA and you have not one, not two, but three incompetent officials all at one time, well, beggars can't be choosers. Let's start with the Sophie elbow, shall we? Sophie, look at this, folks. Boom!
This pattern extends beyond coaching comments to organizational behavior. When teammates like Angel Reese appear on video game covers or Boston Grace's magazine covers, the team rallies with custom t-shirts and celebrations. Clark's individual honors receive notably more subdued recognition, typically just social media posts rather than team-wide celebrations. The disconnect doesn't appear to stem from player relationships within the team. Evidence suggests the roster remains united and supportive of each other. The players seem committed to winning and recognize Clark's importance to that goal. The issue appears more organizational and coaching related than player driven.
Boom! Come on. Boom! Dude, what about that is basketball? What about that is basketball? You see her come and you peek over and you say, let me just cock back real quick. And this isn't plausible deniability. Oh, I didn't know she was there. No, you knew her there. Oh, I didn't know she was throwing. No, you knew you were throwing an elbow. This isn't as egregious. This isn't as vulgar. This isn't as physical. This isn't as assault worthy.
The situation creates unnecessary friction with fans who expect their franchise player to receive appropriate recognition from her own organization. When external coaches and media personalities celebrate Clark more enthusiastically than her own team's leadership, it raises questions about the organization's priorities and messaging strategy.
As assault worthy as when Ron Artest turned around and elbowed James Harden. But this has all the same build up to that play. Peeking over, seeing who's there, realizing it's somebody you don't like, cocking back an elbow. I'm going to try to play this off the best as I can, but boom, swinging an elbow. No foul call over there. They said Sophie Cunningham flopped. Oh, that's a flop to you? Very interesting, very interesting. Did AB flop over here?
The Indiana Fever players themselves appear dedicated and hard-working, with clear chemistry and shared championship aspirations. They understand Clark's value to their success and maintain positive relationships. The awkwardness seems concentrated at the organizational level rather than among the actual team members.
Did AB flop over here? Posting up, Tina Charles turns around and just decks her in the face. Stands over her like she did something. Stands over her like, little girl, keep your ass on the floor. Keep yourself on the floor, little girl. Like you just punched somebody, they fell down, you're like, you want to get up? You want some of this again?
This ongoing pattern of deflection and redirection when discussing Clark's achievements represents a missed opportunity for the organization to fully embrace their star player while still maintaining team unity. The approach risks alienating fans and creating unnecessary complications in what should be straightforward celebrations of individual and team success.